Quando Elvis Presley morreu em agosto de 1977, existiam 3 pessoas naquela época que os fãs odiavam de todo o coração. Uma delas, talvez a primeira, o coronel Tom Parker, seu empresário. O segundo, o Dr. George Nikápolos, o médico pessoal de Elvis. E também na mesma linha de ser uma pessoa que foi acusada na época como uma das responsáveis pelo sofrimento e subsequente morte de Elvis, a sua adorada ex-esposa Priscilla Presley. Hoje as coisas mudaram. Dos 3, Priscilla reverteu totalmente essa condição. Então eu convido os amigos, as amigas, a um trechinho de seu livro Elvis e Eu, onde ela conta sobre sua vida com Elvis e conta muito pouco sobre o seu romance de 4 anos que se seguiu depois de sua separação, depois de seu divórcio em 1973, mas a separação em 1972 com Mike Stoney. Foi algo que realmente abalou a vida de Elvis crucialmente, e ela sempre se esquiva desses detalhes. Então vamos ver o que ela diz em seu livro a respeito desse episódio marcante na vida de Elvis e de Priscilla.
Elvis encorajou-me a treinar com Mike. Elvis disse que não havia nada de 2 pernas capaz de derrotá-lo. Acertei com Mike que iria à sua academia no final da semana e assistiria a uma de suas aulas. Era uma viagem de carro de 45 minutos. Elvis tinha razão. Mike irradiava confiança e classe, assim como muito charme pessoal e espírito. Uma amizade profunda se desenvolveria entre nós. Por causa da distância, resolvi continuar o treinamento com um amigo de Mike, Chuck Norris, que tinha uma academia mais perto de minha casa. Mike aparecia por lá de vez em quando, como instrutor convidado.
Bem, eu tenho um trecho agora da entrevista que Mike Stoney deu recentemente e ele conta uma história bem diferente. Vamos acompanhar.
Instrumental in asking you to work with Priscilla, is that correct? As far as teaching her martial arts?
Yeah, he never asked me directly because at the time Elvis was taking instructions, private lessons from Ed Parker when he was in Los Angeles, and so was Priscilla. But Priscilla apparently didn't want to. She wanted to try another style, not Kempo, and she wanted to try another instructor. So I was not the first one that was suggested. I think because of location and proximity also for being talented was Chuck Norris. He had a school in Sherman Oaks, and that was relatively close to Beverly Hills, whereas I lived all the way down 70 miles away in Orange County in Huntington Beach. So the initial idea for her to take lessons from someone else was not me, was actually Chuck Norris, where I actually met her again on a couple of occasions at Chuck Sherman Oaks School. And from that we met, and then she had asked to get my number and would possibly think about coming to take lessons from me in Orange County, which I thought was absolutely ludicrous. I mean, you know, to drive 50, 60 miles one way, maybe a round trip of 120, 30 miles at night, you know, because that particular class that she eventually did come to was a 7 o'clock class and it ended at 9. So, and then to drive back after 9 o'clock all the way up to Beverly Hills by herself, because at that point she had never driven on the freeway by herself alone. So that was an unusual request.
Now I know as time marched on a little bit, she did come and asked to sit in on one of your classes. Of course, you always gave permission to everybody to to come and sit in a special area and watch your classes when they were being conducted. You want to talk a little bit about how that process came about, and then when you all started dating after that?
Well, it started that I had met her at Chuck School before, and then at that time she persisted and insisted when I said no, because I said, why should I give you my number? I mean, for you to call me and even think of driving that far. It was just a lot of things that didn't make sense to me at the time. Why someone like that would choose to even think about driving that far to take lessons when Chuck Norris is a very capable instructor. So is Ed Parker. So there's a 1,000 other people in the Los Angeles area that she would have taken lessons from other than me. So the mere fact that she was asking, it seemed ludicrous to me that she would even entertain that idea. So I never took her serious, although because she was persistent, I knew that she was serious. So I gave my number just to settle it and not, be continually confronted with asking. And then one day when I was at school teaching my class, doing that afternoon class, she called and asked if she could come. This was, I think, on a Wednesday, and she called if she could come to watch the Friday class. And that since she's never driven on the freeway, she would have a girlfriend of hers named Nora, who is a wife of one of Elvis's people. And Elvis was not in town at the time, probably back in Memphis or in Vegas somewhere. So she asked Nora to drive her to my school. And so she came to watch that class. And then after that, on a Friday night, again, we normally have a pizza night for the instructors, which was very close, walking distance to the pizza parlor right next door. So she stayed around and kept asking questions and everything, and we were already closing up. And I said, listen, maybe you'd like to join us for pizza. We're going to go next door. And she said, you think it'll be okay? I said, yeah, fine. That's, it's not a problem. So, because we were closing up the school anyway, and people were leaving. And just the instructors and I would normally Friday night have a pizza night. So we invited her, and she stayed and talked for a while. And then, as people started to leave, she said, oh, okay, I'll go back. Would it be okay if I come back another time? I said, sure, but, again, I'm always thinking, like, why would you want to drive this far? It's crazy. So, and then she called again and came a couple other times and then wanted to start. So I said, yeah. But as soon as she started, I know she was very serious because even when I was up at Chuck schools on a couple other occasions that she was training along with other people, she seemed, very serious about training. She was a good student. She loves to dance, so her timing, rhythm, and balance and everything is quite good already. So, and she was quite proficient and very serious, and she wasn't a prima donna and wanting to be treated special or in the self-defense techniques or some of the blocking and kicking, it involved making contact with the legs and arms, and she never squealed or said, oh, that hurts or anything like that. So she was quite serious about learning. So
that's great. How long after the working with her did you all get into your series? I know you all were together for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Did that progress pretty fast, or were you teaching her for several months, or how did that happen?
Yeah, it took maybe 4 or 5 months, but she started to drive all the time. When Elvis wasn't there, again, was either in Memphis making a movie or in Las Vegas or doing whatever he was doing and not in LA. Mm-hmm. Then, she spent most of her time to come down. So I'm talking about 4 or 5 days a week to take classes. So like anything, it's going to progress. I mean, things are going to move.
Bem, existe uma diferença bem grande do que Priscilla disse e do que Mike Stone disse. De acordo com inúmeras biografias que eu já li, a história de Mike é, de acordo com esses livros, a verdadeira. E também de acordo com muitos membros da máfia de Memphis e suas esposas, inclusive a esposa de Joe Esposito, que era quem acompanhava Priscilla nessas viagens longas que Mike chamou de ridículas, para simplesmente ter aulas de karatê, enquanto ela tinha Ed Parker, o pai do Kenpo, ali em Los Angeles, do lado da casa dela. Vida longa ao rei. Elvis para sempre.